All right, this is Aaron Mullins, son of Ernest Mullins, who was Assistant DS in the North Carolina East District, who was a filmmaker and has produced an exciting film about a historical figure in the Wesleyan Church. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. We made a documentary. It's called The Courageous Love. My dad works in the East District, helps to plant a lot of new churches there, ministries. At the same time, I begin to hear stories about Adam Crooks, who started the first Wesleyan church in the American South. And reading his story was a lot like reading the script for a Clint Eastwood Western. The things that had happened to him, he came into the state to plant that first church about 5 years before the American Civil War. He was not very well received. There were local mobs that tried to assassinate him. He was dragged out of the church several times. They tried to run him out of town. But he stayed for about 5 years, and he planted 4 or 5 churches, and these congregations grew. So there was a history there with the way the first Wesleyan church was brought into the American South. And then having met and knowing some of the church planters in eastern North Carolina, I saw a thread that these young men and women are sort of carrying on that legacy, and felt like that story needed to be told. So we made this little 45-minute documentary out of that.
How's it being used?
It's being used in several different ways. Obviously, people in North Carolina have become very interested in it. It's been very rewarding to see that a lot of churches are using this to talk about racial reconciliation and to talk about sort of the genesis of the Wesleyan Church in North Carolina and the roots. We need to know where we're coming from to realize where we're going. And the importance of sort of going into communities that maybe we're not comfortable with. That's what Adam Crooks did. People weren't comfortable with coming into North Carolina and talking and preaching against slavery. So to hear those stories about how young people, new members of the church, and even members of the church that aren't familiar with the Adam Crooks story, have really, they play the documentary in church or at special events, and it's getting a great response. In addition, there's been several Wesleyan universities and colleges that have bought the DVD. I'm getting feedback that a lot of those colleges and universities are actually using the documentary as part of the history classes that you're teaching. So that's very rewarding as well.
But you've had some interesting stories of those who've watched the film. Anything comes to mind?
Yeah, there have been some interesting stories. There was one gentleman, an African American gentleman at one of the churches that was there, and he was very touched to have seen the documentary, and there was another gentleman. I guess he confessed to the pastor after viewing the documentary that he walked through his community quite a bit, but he would always walk around the African community, African American neighborhoods. And after seeing this, he realized that he needs to walk through those neighborhoods, that it's not something to avoid. It's, these are people that he needs to embrace and not try to avoid. So, things like that just are very rewarding when it comes to making, a film like this.
Yeah. How can they get the film?
You can watch the film online. I wanted to do a multi-platform distribution, so you can watch the film online at indieflix.com for $19.95. You can also order from our website a DVD copy as well, and that'll be sent out in the mail.
That's great. Well, thank you. God bless you in those efforts.
Absolutely.
Of sharing Wesleyan history.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.